It's Saturday morning, and Dave is standing in his kitchen in sweatpants, holding coffee gone cold because he's been staring at his phone for 11 minutes. The dishwasher is mid-cycle, his daughter is watching cartoons in the other room, and the screen in his hand shows a headline saying, "The average American in their mid-40s has a net worth of almost $1 million." Dave is 45. Dave does not have $1 million. What Dave has is a 401k he's afraid to open, a mortgage with 22 years left, and a Parent Plus loan statement sitting unopened next to the microwave. And he's doing what millions of Americans are doing this morning, trying to figure out if he's the failure or if the number is. I've got good news and bad news. The good news is the number is a lie, a complete statistical, mathematically laundered lie. The bad news is the real number isn't much better, and it comes with a clock attached. According to the most recent Federal Reserve data, the average American household headed by someone aged 45 to 54 has a net worth of $975,800. For most people, that number lands like a punch in the stomach. You're 45, you're doing the responsible adult things, you've got some savings, maybe a house, and you are nowhere near $1 million. So either everyone else is secretly rich or something is wrong with you. Here's the truth. Something is wrong, but it's not you. It's the word average. The average net worth for this age group is nearly $1 million. The median is $247,200. That's a gap of over $700,000. Understanding that gap is the single most important thing you can do for your sanity. My name is Max, and today at Springfield Wealth, we are stripping away the myths to find out exactly where you stand. When you calculate an average, you add everyone's net worth together and divide by the number of people. If you put Jeff Bezos and 9 broke guys in a room, the average net worth of that room is about $20 billion. Technically true? Yes. Practically useless? Absolutely. The median is different. The median is what you get when you line everyone up from poorest to richest and look at whoever's standing in the middle. That's the real person. That's your neighbor. That's Dave. And the median 45-year-old in America has a net worth of about $247,000. Not $1 million. Not close. I'm going to ask you to do something slightly uncomfortable. Pause. Open your banking app, your 401k, and your brokerage account. Add up every dollar you own. Add up your home equity if you have any. Then subtract every dollar you owe. The credit cards, the mortgage, the car loan, the student loans. Write down that number. If you wrote down anything under $48,000, you're in the bottom 25% of Americans your age. If you're sitting around $247,200, you are the median. Mathematically, you are exactly in the middle. If you've got about $680,000, you're in the top 25%. If you're at $1.4 million, you're in the top 10%. And if you're sitting on $8.7 million or more, you are in the top 1%. Now, most people hear that $247,000 median and feel okay about it, but that number is hiding something. Because for the typical 45-year-old, roughly 70% of their entire net worth is locked inside their house. Take Dave's median net worth, subtract the home equity he's built up over the last decade. He's left with about $87,000 for everything else: retirement, emergency funds, college money, and the vacation he's been promising his family for years. Here is the golden handcuff problem. Dave might have $160,000 in home equity, but he's locked into a 3.5% mortgage from years ago. If he tries to tap that equity to pay for his daughter's braces or his son's tuition, he's looking at a home equity line of credit at 9% interest. He would be borrowing his own wealth at a premium just to keep his head above water. Home equity is not money. You cannot eat home equity. You cannot pay the electric bill with your roof. Dave cannot show up at the grocery store and hand them a deed. When you strip home equity out, the national median liquid net worth, the money you can actually spend, drops to less than $60,000 for a 45-year-old. And the retirement side is even more alarming. The financial industry says by age 50, you should have 6 times your annual salary saved. For a median household income, that's about $700,000. but the real median 401k balance for Americans aged 45 to 54 is only $60,000. Think about that. If Dave retired today with $60,000 and followed the safe 4% withdrawal rule, his 401k would pay him exactly $200 a month. That doesn't even cover the grocery bill for a week in today's economy. Dave is 10 times behind where the benchmark says he should be, and about 38% of households in this age bracket have essentially zero retirement savings. But why is this happening? Between 2019 and 2024, the 40 to 54 age group was the only demographic to actually lose wealth in real terms. While younger people saw jumps and older people sat on established assets, Dave's generation got squeezed. Today's 45-year-old is the sandwich generation. Over 50% of people this age are currently supporting an aging parent while also raising a kid or helping an adult child. The cost of assisted living has skyrocketed to an average of $5,300 a month. Dave's mom is 74 and needs care that Medicare does not cover. Meanwhile, his 24-year-old son moved back home because the median rent in his city is now $2,100, an impossible ask for an entry-level salary. Dave is paying for 3 generations at once, out of one paycheck. He's also dealing with lifestyle creep he didn't ask for, the hidden costs of a digital life, from $200 utility increases to the $150 a month he spends on various streaming services and cloud storage just to keep his family's digital photos safe. It is structurally impossible to max out a 401k while writing checks for memory care and travel soccer. And don't count on an inheritance to save you. While we hear about the great wealth transfer, that money is extraordinarily concentrated. A recent study showed that the median inheritance for the bottom 50% of Americans is a staggering $0, because end-of-life medical care and nursing homes consume the estate before the children ever see it. But I'm not here to tell you you're cooked. I'm Max, and at Springfield Wealth, we look at the math, because the math provides the exit ramp. You have 20 years. Even if you're starting today at age 45 with very little, you still have a compounding window that is almost impossible to replace. Let's look at the catch-up strategy. If Dave finds a way to cut just $15 a day, maybe by finally canceling those unused subscriptions and eating out 2 fewer times a month, and puts that $450 into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, he's not just saving money. Over the next 20 years, at an average 8% return, that small change grows into nearly $265,000. When you add that to his existing 401k and the fact that he will eventually pay off his mortgage, Dave goes from struggling to secure. He doesn't need to be a genius. He doesn't need to win the lottery. He just needs to turn the machine on. The worst thing you can do at 45 is decide it's too late. The math is tight, the pressure is real, and the system is harder than it used to be. But the race isn't over. So where do you actually stand? You stand at a crossroads. The number you wrote down at the beginning of this video is your past. What you do on Monday morning is your future. The average 45-year-old isn't a failure. They're just running a race that nobody told them had changed. But the finish line hasn't moved, and you still have 20 years of Saturdays left. Stop staring at the cold coffee and start moving. The window is still open. You just have to be the one to walk through it.